He's not actually there. That was just a trick of the light, guys. And then he wasn't even in the vicinity at all. He was actually miles away at Wayne Manor. But his tech is so advanced that by the time those crooks realized what had happened, he had already received their location coordinates and was basically en route. As the wet concrete beneath him squelched with every step, Batman listened to the crooks arguing amongst themselves and plotting their escape. He could have easily taken them down one by one, but that would have taken too long. Batman preferred efficiency, and there were lots of people in need of saving. So instead, he used his voice amplifier, the same one from the 90s cartoon. No, not that one. This one? Yeah, that one. And boomed. I am Batman. Of course, this startled the crooks and made them drop their loot, which Batman collected using his grappling hook. Once he had it all tied up in one neat package, he took off into the dark sky. As always, only seconds later, a police car screeched into the alley, lights flashing, sirens blaring. But it was too late. Batman was gone. Meanwhile, back at Wayne Manor, Alfred was having none of it. Master Wayne, he said sternly, throwing the newspaper on the floor. Really? You could have let me handle that! Alfred looked like he was about to say something else, but Batman cut him off. We need more security around here, Alfred. He paused for a second. I am sure I can think of a few dozen names from Arkham Asylum that would be willing to moonlight as security guards. Alfred gave a look that said, "You are not serious." But Batman was already gone, disappearing into the darkness of the night. Our next scene opens with Harley Quinn bouncing around her apartment. She's just finished painting a mural of herself and Mr. J on the wall, and she's pretty proud of it. But when she tries to take a bow, she loses her balance and falls flat on her face. Ivy rushes over to help her up. Whoa, there, Harlos. You okay? She asks. But Harley just glares at her. No, I'm not okay, Ivy. I don't know what's wrong. I haven't felt this angry since the last time I saw that bird lady. Ivy puts a comforting hand on Harley's shoulder, but Harley throws her off. Don't touch me, plant lady! I need some space! Ivy is confused, but she lets Harley sit with her anger for a moment before approaching her again. Look, Harles, if you want to talk about it, I'm here for you. Harla looks up at her for a second, then goes back to staring at the floor. It's nothing, Ivy! I just feel like we've been cooped up in this apartment for too long. I want to go cause some chaos. Maybe break into some places. Steal some things. Scare some people. Punch some people. Kill some people. Ivy interrupts. You know, I do think we should go out sometime soon. But I don't think stealing or killing is the best way to go about that. How about we check out that new Thai place downtown? I hear they have excellent spring rolls. Harley looks slightly less angry. Yeah, okay, let's do that. But before Ivy can say anything, Mr. J appears on the television set, ranting about how he hasn't seen Harley in a while and wondering where she could be. He says he wants to see her. Wants to show her something funny he's been working on? But Ivy cuts the broadcast short and tells Harley they're leaving. Harley nods her head slowly, almost like a zombie. Something's definitely up with her. Meanwhile, Batman is sitting on a gargoyle, surveying the city with a pair of binoculars. He's trying to spot where Joker might strike next. But just as he's about to call it quits for the night, he spots a bank robbery in progress. So he does what any sane person would do. He pulls out his cell phone and calls the police. But Bruce, you don't need the cops. You could just swoop in and save the day yourself. But Bruce doesn't listen. He tells the police everything he knows about the situation, including the fact that the robber has explosives. And just as he hangs up, he hears a familiar laugh. Ha ha ha! Holy smokes! Batman, you're actually calling the fuzz. That's hilarious. But don't worry, Batsy, I've got you covered because he pauses for dramatic effect. This baby is loaded with enough boom to blow us all to kingdom come. Batman looks through his binoculars and spots Joker standing on top of the bank, holding a detonator in one hand and a bouquet of flowers in the other. Ha! What? Why does he have a bouquet of flowers? Batman thinks for a moment. Wait, no, that's not normal. He's never held a bouquet of flowers before. And before Batman can even figure out what he should do, Ivy pops out of nowhere and trips Joker with a well-aimed vine. Before he can react, Batman drops down from above and swoops in to disarm him. But as soon as Batman gets close enough, Joker presses the button. Just as the explosion rocks the building and sends glass flying everywhere, Batman uses his utility belt jet boots to blast himself upwards. Up in the sky, he flies faster than the eye can see, dodging giant chunks of debris. He zooms in on the falling Joker and gives him a batarang to the head, knocking him unconscious. Then he grabs onto Ivy, who is also sucked out of the building by the force of the explosion. She's scared, but Batman reassures her, telling her that they're almost there. But then suddenly, the detonator in Joker's hand starts to glow red. "Oh," Batman says, "looks like we don't have much time left." So he turns on his booster rockets and flies them all the way to the nearest rooftop. They crash land, knocking Joker and Ivy unconscious. But Batman is fine. Well, as fine as one can be after being blown up in the face with shrapnel. That is, meanwhile, at Gotham Hospital, Harley is lying on a bed being treated for her injuries, which are suspiciously similar to Batman's. She's groggy, but she's conscious enough to notice that Ivy is sitting by her bedside crying. Harley feels guilty. She remembers now. She did this to protect Ivy. After Mr. J asked her to meet him at the bank, Harley knew he was planning something big. She tried to warn Ivy, but Ivy wouldn't listen. Harley was afraid for her friend's safety, so she drugged her with some experimental formula she stole from Lex Luthor. The plan was to make Ivy fall asleep, then take her to the hospital once the inevitable explosion happened. But Harley didn't know that the explosion would knock her out cold for several hours. When she woke up, Ivy was nowhere to be found. She assumed the worst, that Batman had captured Ivy and brought her to Arkham. But when she saw Ivy here, safe and sound, she felt relieved. And although she doesn't say it, she's glad that Ivy was there for her when she woke up. Our next scene takes place in an abandoned warehouse district. It's foggy and dark. The perfect place for a secret meeting. And there's a secret meeting happening. A very secretive meeting between Penguin and Bane. They're standing on a pile of boxers, sharing a bottle of cheap whiskey. Penguin has bandages wrapped around his head where Bane punched him a few days ago. Now that's a black eye. "So," Penguin says, wiping some whiskey off his mouth, "you really expect me to believe that Joker sent you to break my bones?" Bane takes a swig of whiskey. "If you wish, Penguin, I told you the truth about Two-Face. Do you not believe me?" Penguin shakes his head slowly. "No, I suppose I didn't believe you, but I had to ask." Bane nods his head understandingly. "I understand why you wanted proof, but please, Penguin, try to trust me more in the future." Penguin takes another swig of whiskey. "Well, thank you, Bane. And thank you for coming to see me. I'd offer you another drink, but this is the last of it." Bane looks disappointed. But before he can say anything, Penguin continues. "Tell you what, though, why don't we open up a bottle of this old Jim Beam right here, right now?" And with that, they raise their bottle to each other, united in their hatred for Batman and their desire to destroy Gotham.